The easy part for most of us is collecting the tires. The harder part is standing here and telling everybody what we actually did. You people that have helped out have been tremendous, each and every one of you, and we thank you. And with that, Tom Donahue, you can now do your thing, but we're timing you. You got 30 seconds.
Oh boy.
You know, Tom. You know.
So I'm going to be really brief. Tom Donahue, Brock Community Action. I said I'm going to be really brief, Dick Wabi. But I did want to say two things that with this event called Wheels for Warmth, which has been in Rutland County for 4 years. We're so proud of it already, Governor. But there's a couple of factors in us doing it here, and one of them is Casella. I got to tell you, we wouldn't want to do it without Casella behind us and their amazing staff and their facility. That really makes it realistic to do. It's a big logistic, almost nightmare, except for the fact that you guys make it look easy, and we thank you so much for that. Honestly, yeah, thank you. And then I do want to take a second to identify, because the president of our organization is here, Mary Jean Ingley. We've got some board members here. Thank you very much, Mary Jean. Thank you, board members. Our great staff over here, they're actually going to start implementing this by distributing fuel like they will at Capstone and at CVOEL, so I thank them very much. And then Butch Shaw and a great number of the Rutland County delegation are here, led by Butch, and you guys do some tremendous cooking early in the morning, and I got to give you credit, but it's that, it's nice of you to take the time to meet with your constituents and to support this event. So thank the whole Rutland County delegation, too. So only two more thank yous. One, I want to thank Gail because she let me borrow her snow tires, Governor, for this great podium we built. So these two got to go back in her car after. But last but not least, and all kidding aside, I'm going to borrow some, Mayor, I'm going to borrow some words from Bill Murray in the movie Stripes, and about how every foot needs a big toe. And Richard Wabi, you're our big toe.
Amen.
Couldn't do it without you, Richard, so thank you. And so I want to introduce my colleague. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce my colleague, Jan Demers, from the Burlington area, which I say I walk in Jan's shadow. So, Jan Demers.
And just to follow really briefly, and I do have to say something because I'd like to make a shout out to Mike Casella, one of the most generous and unbelievable men who gives so out of the deep within their heart. And then I want to just quickly say, without Du Bois Construction and the loyalty that staff has for the great man who started this event is not paralleled. They are amazing. So that's my thank yous. I want to tell you why we do what we do. We do it for the people who have the need. And I just want to tell that in one brief story. We get a phone call at 4:50 one night when the staff had gone. So the first thing in the morning, they picked up the phone and they listened to the message. And it was an elderly gentleman. And he says, I've got an emergency fuel need right now. And this is the first time I've ever called. And he left his name and he left his number. And then he said he thought the phone call was over, except we heard on the phone him turning to his wife. And he said, I've got a toolbox down in my basement. And if I were to sell some of those tools, we might be able to get a little bit of fuel. And for those people in this room that are Vermonters, and I can see my grandfather and I can see the toolbox that he had down in his basement. And I know that every tool made a difference on every piece of that house that he lived on, and every car that he had, and every little thing that needed to be adjustment. For a Vermonter, a toolbox is a lifetime of gold. And so the next morning we called, and it was an 81-year-old gentleman who had just come out of the hospital. His wife was 80. and we were able to get some fuel to that household. But that's why we do that. We do that for people who are disabled. We do that for single parents. We do that for Vermonters who, because of their circumstances, live in poverty, and they need our help. And we give it from the people from the gentleman at Casella, who had arms as long that he could take 3 tires in each arm and carry them over to the bin, to me, who was rolling the tires, because that's all I could do. I want to say thank you, and that's why we do it. And I say thank you for every Vermonter that benefits from this program.
Wonderful.
And now to welcome and welcome the governor and the mayor of the city of Rutland, David Allaire. Welcome, David. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Great to be with you. Tom asked me to come over to do the introduction today, and I certainly said that I would be happy to do that. You know, I think Wheels for Warmth and Brock and Casella's and all the folks, the legislative delegation who are involved in this massive undertaking, the amount of good they do for Vermonters, which has just been stated so well, is unparalleled with a lot of the programs that go on around our state. So we appreciate you all being in Rutland. We appreciate holding this event here. We're very pleased about that. The governor and I go back a little ways. We, I think, served in the legislature, I won't say how many years ago, but it was a couple. And we've developed a great partnership. So it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you the governor of the state of Vermont, Phil Scott.
Well, thank you so much. You know, it's really humbling for me to be here today to see what we've done over the years. And when I say that we collectively have done, because it's not just one person, it takes a whole team. And I've seen this team develop so rapidly over the years. I think back about 2005, I had the idea that we needed to do something with all the tires that I see in my basement, my garage, that were no longer fit the vehicle that I have, but could still be used. But I didn't want to sell them, go to the work of doing that. And I knew others that had the same issue. And I stole this idea, because none of us have ideas on our own. I stole this idea from the Karen Kitzmiller Coat Exchange. Karen Kitzmiller was a legislator from Montpelier, Democrat. And this is nonpartisan, by the way. I mean, poverty hits all of us, whether Democrats and Republicans alike. So we all collectively come together in order to support this. But she had this program that she started before her untimely death due to cancer. But it grew over the years, and I just saw that works so well. And it gives back instantaneously to people who need the help. And I thought we could replicate this in another way. I don't know that much about coats, but I know something about tires.
That's right.
So that first year we collected and sold, we probably raised about $9,000 that first year. And to see what it's become now, almost over $60,000 in 1 year. It's just, again, so humbling. Think about, again, collectively, how many tires that we've recycled over the years. Over 38,000 tires we've recycled. And also put back into use another 23,000. And think about that for a minute. All those tires sitting in someone's basement or garage and so forth. And it's really true conservation to get the most use out of any product. And that's what we do here. And then, again, to raise all that money for fuel assistance as a result. $550,000 over 15 years. So it's always a lot of fun for me, again, and you can't thank everyone enough. There are too many individuals to name, but the teamwork that happens and how this is developed, and I'm so proud of what Rutland does in particular. You have a lot of fun and that day, and again, the Rutland delegation of progressives, Republicans, and Democrats alike coming together with a common cause. and a common goal. And the Casellas that have been instrumental in this from the very beginning. We couldn't do this without them. And Du Bois Construction as well. And WDEV up in our area has been instrumental. There's been so many partners in this that without one of them, we wouldn't be successful. So you think about all the spokes in the wheel, and that's what all of you are spokes in this wheel, and we're the hub. And we saw the Norwich Cadets come this year up in the Middlesex facility, and we had a lot of tires that needed to be sorted, and we had at least a dozen Norwich Cadets come out for 3 nights to make sure that they were all stacked and placed, and it took them to step up. We had the Norwich women's hockey team that came the day of the event, and they had so much fun that they put it on their calendar for next year. The coach said, we're not scheduling a game next year to conflict with this, because it's too important. And so again, it does your heart good. And I remember some of those stories. And it all does come down to, it's not the reward of the money or the tires. The reward is the story that Jan told, or the stories the countless stories over the years. And I remember this one in particular because I think about this when it gets, there's a lot of work that goes into this, and Richard Wabi, a friend of mine from high school, deserves a lot of credit. What's that?
I was.
Past tense.
The Batman.
But I think about that day, and some of you were there, but we just closed down. It was after, I think it was 1 o'clock, and a woman came in, and she needed tires. And we said, well, we're closed up, but we'd be happy to go take a look, because she didn't know about the event. She just happened upon it when she went to get her car inspected. And so she found the tires that she needed. She found 4 that would fit her vehicle. Then she told us the story. She had gone and had her brakes done that day because her car wouldn't pass inspection without brakes, but it also wouldn't pass inspection without tires. But she couldn't afford both. And her husband had just passed away, and she had kids at home. And it was such a relief for her to get those tires on that day, so that she could get her car inspected by Monday, that was it for her. She wasn't going to be able to get to work or get her kids to school. So when I think, when times are getting tough, you think about times like that, and what people go through, and the gift we can give by working together. And so I thank you and I congratulate you. Look forward to it next year. It's always the last weekend of the month. And it will be again next year. So thanks again for all your effort. Really appreciate it.
Tires!
If we
Tires!